Tier list, 90 cheeky tier lists. Tier list, 90 cheeky tier lists. Hello everyone, Christopher Nightingale here with another cheeky tier list for you. And today, as you can see, I'm wearing my Manchester United jersey. I've got my collar up, I've got my United programmes in the background, and I'm talking about Manchester United legends. So these are players who have made a big impact on the club. There are absolutely tons of them down here, so hopefully they are all covered. I didn't put this list of legends together. This is from the tiermaker.com tier list website, but I did have a say in the categories. So for me, timeless legend, for me, these are players that literally are the pinnacle. They will be talked about in 20, 30, 50, 100 years time. As long as the club is in existence, these players will be referred to from within the club and from within the fan base. United, great. These are the next level down. They're not quite at the top tier, but they are people who did great things at the club, should be celebrated as such, and are remembered fondly by the fan base. Cult hero. These are players who, from outside the club, people may say, oh, well, they're not that good, but inside the club, they are held in high regard. It's like, no, these are absolute brilliant. What a guy. We just love them. United servants. People who've stayed at the club a long, long time and done a good job. Let me zip this up because it's a wee bit chilly in my house. Good players. The people who are just decent. They were okay. They did a good job. But they're not more than that. And I don't know how many people there'll be in a not a legend category. You know, these are players who I maybe think are just, maybe just rubbish. I doubt there'll be many rubbish players in this list, but people who are just, nah, sorry, not for me. They're not in the levels of legendary status. So, the collar's up. I've got my drink in hand. Let's begin. Phil Neville. I don't think we can put Phil Neville in United servant because he did leave us. He did leave us. I think Nicky Butt has a similar thing. I know he's part of the class of 92. I know he's part of that level, and he's affiliated with that legendary group of players. But out of those players, I think I'd put him as a good player. I wouldn't put him any higher than that, for me personally. I do think he did a good job. I actually think his best years were at Everton, not at United. So that's why, for me, good player. Patrice Evra. For me, Patrice Evra is a United great. I'm just short of putting him as a timeless legend, but he's definitely a United great. What a player. What a left back. Did 8 years for us, I believe. Superb. Absolutely superb. Jesse Lingard. Now, I have a spot for Jesse Lingard. I have a soft spot for Jesse Lingard in the sense that he did score some very important goals for us. He won us an FA Cup. Let's not forget, he did win us the FA Cup. But I can't, especially seeing where his career's gone, I can't put him as anything other than a good player. I wouldn't even put him as a cult hero, sadly. I think he kind of threw his toys out the pram a bit, the Jesse Lingard. At us, and I think it's affected his reputation within the club and within the fan base. Actually, I do think he's a good player, and I think had he stayed at us, he could well be definitely in the United servant, if not a bit of a cult hero. But he's gone on, and his career's gone downhill since he left us. So, I mean, this man needs no introduction. and it's no surprise to I don't think it'll be much of a surprise. This man's top tier and will be forever the top of this tier. So Bobby Charlton, I don't know how much else I can say on him that has not been said before, but he is the definition of everything. He is the epitome of everything that Manchester United should be. Class, gentleman, amazing quality, professionalism. Just how many more positive adjectives can I use to describe Sir Bobby Charlton? But not only was he did he stay throughout his whole career at Manchester United? Pretty much, he did play at Preston side bit after, but literally, vast majority of his career at Old Trafford, came through the academy, survived the Munich air disaster, went on to be the highest scoring player at our football club. You know, record goal scorer until only a few years ago when Rooney topped it. He wasn't even a striker for the vast majority of his career. He played all sorts of positions, but mainly later in life played in midfield and was still scoring goals. If you want to just go, at his goals, just go on YouTube and watch them. They are sensational. Absolutely sensational. This is a man who could hit a ball unbelievably hard. And these were leather balls on, mud bath pitches. And he was doing that. But it's the way he's handled himself. The fact that he was an ambassador to the end of his life for Manchester United. He is number one for me. I don't think another player will top him in terms of legendary status. In 500 years' time, as long as Manchester United is still around, they'll still be talking about Sir Bobby Charlton. So he's number one. Number one for me. Oh, it's Laurent Blanc. Laurent Blanc's a good player. He's not a United legend, and he did a reasonable job for us considering he was like 35 when he joined. But, he's a good player. Right, okay. Anderson is not a legend. I can say he's a good... Can I say he's a good player? He had a couple of great seasons for us. Having seen where his career went after us, he didn't do anything. I think even Lingard has done more since he left United, with West Ham and all that, than Anderson has. Yeah, Anderson's not a legend. Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw has to be considered a United great. I know some people might not like me saying that, but I think he has to be considered a United great. He's a servant, but I think he's better than that. I think he is a United great. I think he's better than a servant. Yeah, he's got to be United great. Wonderful left back. Has made that position his own at the club effectively for the last 10 years. The only thing you can say about him, and it's a fair point, and some people may mark him down for this, is his injury record. Had he not been injured as much, he's there without a shadow of a doubt. I'm going to still put him there, just the length of time he's been here at the club. Oh, cult hero. Xavi Hernandez. What a guy. Was not at us long enough. Should have been at us longer. Chicharito. He should have been at us longer. Oh God, he was great, wasn't he? He was just great. He went on to score loads of goals everywhere he played. I believe he's back in Mexico now at his old club. But Chicharito, what a guy. First season at us, scored loads of goals. The goal he scored at Stoke, heading it with the back of his head, great. The quick fire goal against Chelsea after about 30 seconds or something. Honestly, great moments. He basically, that first season was his best season for us. And he became like a cult figure because he had like the nicest, happiest, cheesiest grin ever. And when he scored, he loved it. My God. And everyone just wanted to see this smile all the time. He was just, what a guy. So yeah, he's a cult hero, I think. Definitely a cult hero. Rafael da Silva. Right, okay. Rafael da Silva. He was a good player. He's a good player. I don't think he's a legend, but he was a good player. Yeah. Well, I don't think he's on the level of these. Nah, he's not a legend though, is he? Rafael's not a legend. He should have been. We should have kept hold of Rafael. If we kept hold of Rafael longer, he would be up there. But we didn't. We got rid of him. Oh, David Beckham. Right, okay. This might be controversial. But I think he's a timeless. I think David Beckham is timeless. And I know that might have a lot to do with his celebrity status and his exposure and his superstar levels in terms of football. But actually for us, in the class of 92, he might be the one that really, he for me, there are few that go straight in on that top category. And it might be just my age, it might be just my generation, but I think he is timeless. Legend. I love the fact that he still very much adores the club. That means a lot. And he's a great ambassador for the football club. He always speaks highly of Manchester United. He loves the club. And that speaks volumes. And when he was at us, he had a hand in the treble. He scored some of the most iconic goals, one of the most iconic goals in the club's history, with the halfway line goal against Wimbledon. He is, I think he's timeless. I think people will still be talking about Beckham in 30, 50 years' time. This guy has to be on the timeless because he's our top goal scorer at the minute, our record goal scorer, Wayne Rooney. And there was a time where he was looking like he was throwing that legendary status away. I remember when he handed a transfer request. I think he handed a transfer request twice in the course of his time at Manchester United. But what he did was he turned around, reframed it. Changed his mind, basically, effectively changed his mind. I think but on both accounts he was given bad advice from his agent. He admits that now. He stayed at us and kept on performing. And in the process became the top scorer at our football club. So in that sense, he's timeless because he's in the record books. He was in the record books until someone breaks his record. And I think it'll be quite a long while before someone breaks his record. Seriously impressive. Wayne Rooney. And a great footballer who, as time's gone on, I think only now people are really starting to look back and recognise just how good Wayne Rooney was. I think at the time, and I'll admit this, I'm one of these people, I took him for granted a bit. Especially during the latter years, I took Wayne Rooney for granted. And I shouldn't have done because he was superb. Absolutely superb. Oh, Danny Welbeck. Good player. Better than Blanc. Did well for us. Came through the academy. We probably should not have sold him. Oh, in fact, I know we shouldn't have sold him. Considering he did well at Arsenal and then did well at Watford. Was he at Watford? And then he was at... Where else was he at? Then he's now at Brighton. I think Danny Welbeck is a decent player. Good striker. Probably should have kept hold of him, to be honest. Right, okay. Now, part of me wants to put this guy in cult hero because he was just crazy. He was probably, considering goalkeepers now play a lot with their feet, he was probably way ahead of his time. But he's not a legend, is he? Fabian Barthez is not a United legend. I'm going to put him as good player because of his career. Says that he should be a good player. But he's not a United legend. He's not a United legend. Well, I think these two go straight in the top, don't they? I mean, firstly, if you have a statue outside Old Trafford, you should be considered a timeless legend. And I'm going to put Duncan Edwards up there as well. Duncan Edwards, unfortunately, the reason Duncan Edwards is a timeless legend is because of his involvement in the Munich air disaster. Sadly. He should, and you can read many fan journals on this, fan articles on this, if the Munich air disaster had not happened and Duncan Edwards had lived, there is a fair chance that had he stayed at United his whole career, he would be number one. He would be top of the list. And some people may still put him on that level. I think out of all these, he probably goes there. Because of what he means to the club. In terms of, he is the embodiment of the Busby Babes era. Probably there, just behind Sir Bobby Charlton. He is the embodiment of the Busby Babes and what they stood for. And if you actually watch footage of him play, yeah, he was seriously good. Remember, they only filmed the big matches back then. It wasn't Match of the Day territory where they started filming a lot more football. This was before Match of the Day. They only filmed the important games, the big matches, and he smashes it. So obviously, if he was doing that in big matches, he was probably doing that. He was probably doing as well, if not a bit better, in games against other opposition, lower opposition. So he was tearing it up. He was probably tearing it up then. So yeah, Duncan Edwards has to go there. And George Best, I mean, you have a statue of George Best outside. I think George Best goes there because, and probably ahead of Rooney. It's tough, innit? Because Rooney's Rooney's a star record breaker. But Best has a statue outside Old Trafford. It's Best Law Charlton. And I'm sure Dennis Law is on this list, and he will be up there as well. Because you don't get a statue at the ground if you are not a legend. And George Best and Bobby Charlton have statues outside the ground alongside Dennis Law. So the Holy Trinity, they have to be in timeless. They have to be in timeless because they will be there forever. I hope so as well, because and George Best, just watch footage of George Best play. It's unbelievable. It was a shame that his career ended so soon, and effectively alcohol took its toll on him and affected his decision making, and he really found fame difficult to deal with. And there was no one around to protect him, and he suffered for that. And his career at United was cut short. I think he left United and he's 26. He should have been playing for another 10 years at our football club. God, it's amazing that he's a timeless legend, and yet Manchester United fans the world over are thinking, what if only he just cut out the partying, cut out the nightlife, cut out the drinking. If only he'd just been as professional as, say, Bobby Charlton was, he would be right up there. He would probably be the best player we've ever had. honestly, if he had just not been the flamboyant maverick character that he was off the pitch, he would probably be the best player we ever had. But it was probably those reasons, his character, that made him the player he was. So if you took all that away, maybe he wouldn't be half the player. Who knows? But he's a timeless legend. Teddy Sheringham. Teddy Sheringham. Part of the United. He has to be United great. He has to be United great. 4 years at our club. And he scored several important goals. Cup finals. Won the Golden Boot in his last year. I think he stayed in his last season at us because we asked him to, because Ruud van Nistelrooy got injured. We asked him to stay another year. He was 35 and he was the best player for us. I think he won Player of the Year and he scored the most goals for us that season, and we won the Premier League for the 3rd time in a row. So he is a United great. He scored in the final of the 1999 Champions League final. He scored in the final of the FA Cup final. First touch after coming on as a substitute. So United great. Easy one. Tim Howard. Again, good player. He's not a legend at our football club, but what he did, he was a decent keeper for us. He was an absolutely sensational keeper for Everton. So if you're doing this tier list with Everton legends, he'd probably be close to the top. But no, Tim Howard, great player. Hate to be harsh on Tom Cleverley, but he's not a United legend, is he? Let's be honest. Right, okay. I think this man is a timeless legend. He is the best defender I have ever seen in a United shirt. Rio Ferdinand. I'm putting him ahead of Beckham because I think Ferdinand did more for the club than Beckham did for the club. Ferdinand, just the silkiest, most calm, composed, coolest centre-back I've ever seen. I think, as with Rooney, it's only in the last few years people have actually looked back and gone, Jesus Christ, Rio Ferdinand was that good. For me, he is timeless because he is one of the best centre-backs we've ever had. So he has to be up there. He has to be the marker for me. He is almost the marker of a United centre-back, along with Bill Fuchs, who'll be on here in a bit. I hope he's on here. God, bet be. Right. Oh, I've had the pleasure of meeting this man a couple of times in person. Alex Stepney. I think I'm going to put him in the top of United greats. I don't think I would consider him a United legend. Oh God! This is terrible. This is so bad because he spent so long at us through relegations and came back. Oh God! And he's such a good man as well. He's such a nice guy because I've met him and had chats with him as well. Oh God, this is horrible. No, okay, right. For now, I'm going to stick with Stepney as United great. Oh God, because otherwise that top tier is going to get rammed. Okay, he's top of United great. He's so on the cusp of legend, and I might just go and shift him up. But we'll see. We'll see how packed the other areas is. But yeah, keeper throughout the 60s and 70s. Won the European Cup with us. Yeah, what a guy. Made the save from Eusebio that basically pretty much nailed on the European Cup win. Actually, I'm almost talking myself into putting him as timeless legend here. But right, okay, I'm going to keep him there for now. I'm going to put Ashley Young as a United servant. I think he was good for us for a long period of time. He shifted from the United... he shifted from left winger to left back for a fair few years and did a decent job. He even played at right back on some occasions. Whenever we called on Ashley Young to do a job, he did it well. So what more can we say about a United servant than that? And I think he played, I think it was almost 10 years at us. I think he was like 9 years at us or something. So yeah, United servant, without a shadow of a doubt. Oh. Ander Herrera. God blimey. Is he a cult hero? Is Ander Herrera a cult hero? Or is he just a good player? It's between I think he's the very top of good player. But I know some people who may well put him as a cult hero. I don't think he spent long enough. He spent 5 years at us, and we didn't play him enough for him to be a United great. He's one of these players that should be a United great, but we screwed him over. I think he's the top of good player. I don't think he's quite a cool hero, but he did a decent job. Fletch, United servant. For me, I think Fletch stayed at us for a fair amount of time. I'm going to put him ahead of Young. Was a good midfielder. Very good midfielder. Not quite in the United great. I think he was solid. And he did a job. Whenever we needed him to do a job, he did it. And he stayed at us for a fair number of years, so United servant. Timeless. He only spent 4.5 years at us. But I'm actually going to put him there, ahead of Rooney, just because of his impact on the club. The catalyst for the Premier League, the start of the Premier League era, and winning all those titles early doors. Eric Cantona, we still sing his name, we still chant about him. For me, it's not just his goals, which were beautiful, it's not just his assists that were beautiful, or his overall play that was beautiful. It's the way he handles himself. My God, is there a cooler guy, cooler footballer to play for our club? No. He is the coolest player to play for our club ever. He is just oozes. Just cool. Just, oh, what a badass. What an absolute... And you just... The second you think Cantona, you think legend. The king. Just God. Just what a guy. It's his personality. It's his personality, the way he handles himself. He still loves the club. He speaks so highly of the fans. He's definitely like the fans player. He just loves United fans and he loves interacting with United fans. He is just superb. And the fact that he's had a superb career in acting afterwards is great. The film, Ken Loach film, Looking for Eric, is superb. Please watch it if you've never watched it. Oh yeah, he is. And the fact, the mystique of him, the fact that he is not perfect. You know, the fact that he did kung fu kick a fan and a hooligan in the crowd. You know, these are things that could well tarnish a lot of other players, but for him, it's almost in a weird way created this kind of legacy about him, this mystique that's still there. It's like, oh, that we don't quite know who he is. We can't quite figure him out, but yet he is... It's all adds to this unique I don't know how else to describe him. He's just unique. A one of a kind. There will never be another Eric Cantona. And that's why he's a timeless legend. Paul Pogba. Sweet Jesus. Well, I'm really tempted to put him there. Honestly. And people say, well, he's a good player, and he's a good player. What has he done? What has he done in the last 4 years? It's a hot take of mine. It's going to be a hot take, this. And I know he's won a World Cup, and I know all this, but he's not a legend. I'm sorry, he's not a legend. He's not a legend. I'm putting him top as not a legend because he's done more in his career than probably these, 3 players combined. But I don't think he's a legend, and I'm making a statement there. He has to go there. He has to go there. Oh, oh God. Oh, timeless. Peter Schmeichel has to be timeless. No, the keeper of the 90s. Probably the best keeper we've had. He's got to be up there. I think I'm going to put him probably behind Beckham for me. But he is up there. He's right. He's got to be. Ability-wise, he's probably the best keeper we've ever had. He was remarkable, goalkeeper. The way he organised the defence, sensational. His charisma, he still speaks so highly of the club. He's regularly at Old Trafford. Yeah, Schmeichel, got to be there. Oh, Ronnie Onsen. Servant. Did a good job for us for a number of years. Who's that? Oh, Anthony Martial. Oh, okay. Right, he's a good player. Do I put him ahead of Welbeck? No, I think Welbeck's better. I think Lingard's better. I think Tim Howard was probably a better player than him. I'm going to put him there because of his achievements for the club are better than these, I think. Actually, no, Bartes probably did better than him. You know what? Actually, there, and Phil Neville's probably up there as well. Right, yeah. He's on the cusp of not being a legend, but I can't say he's not. I think on his day he's a good player. I think he's I know Paul Pogba's there, so if Paul Pogba's there, he's got to be down there. Sorry, I don't think. Yeah, Anthony Martial's not a legend, and I think he's got to be in that bracket. I've set the benchmark now by putting Paul Pogba there. I've set the benchmark of what I consider to be a good United player. And I don't think Martial's it. Oh, yeah, Stan. Cult hero. Top of cult hero. Actually, no, he's a United great, isn't he? I'm putting him there. The one player Ferguson really desperately regrets selling him. He might well be in top tier had he stayed at us, had we not sold him, and he spent another 5 years at us. He's probably up there, and he might be alongside Rio as the best centre-back we've ever had. But he's there because the years he was at us was sensational. Absolutely superb. So he's got to be there. Oh. Park Ji-sung. The definition of a cult hero. You ask any United fan, how good was Park Ji-sung? We will rave about Park Ji-sung. And fans from outside will go, well, wasn't that good, was he? Well, didn't play that many games for you, did he? No, but I tell you what, every time we called upon him to do a job, he did it well. He worked his socks off. He's the hardest working player I've ever seen on a football pitch. He's the only man to actually stop Andre Pirlo playing, and he did that several times whenever we played AC Milan. We put Park Ji-sung on him. Pirlo never got a touch of the ball. He was absolutely the big game player. He always showed up in big games. Ferguson says his one regret one of his there's a couple of regrets because he sold Yap Stan, but one of his biggest regrets was not putting Park Ji-sung on Lionel Messi in the Champions League finals. Had he done that, outcome may have been different. It may not have been, but it definitely will have affected the outcome. Everyone loves Park Ji-sung. We still chant his name. He's the definition of a cult hero. Love him. Andy Cole. United great. Got to be United great. And I'm going to put him ahead of Luke Shaw and ahead of Teddy Sheringham because he spent longer at us. He won more trophies during that time. And he formed a couple of great partnerships, most notably with Dwight Yorke. Therefore, a United great. When I think of United strike partnerships, even to this day, and I was very young when they started doing this, but Cole and Yorke, off the top of my head, yeah. So therefore he's a United great. I'm putting him ahead of Luke Shaw because I think he's achieved more. And I think he's achieved a bit more than Sheringham as well. So I'm putting him there. Oh, Ryan Giggs. Okay, right. This is also controversial. I think this might be a hot take, but I think he's a United great, not a timeless legend. And the sole reason I'm putting him there, because all his records suggest he should be a timeless legend, without question. But his conduct in the last few years off the pitch has been disgusting, actually. It's been shit. It's been shocking. And I think that knocks him down. I think he's top of United great because every single thing points to him being a United legend. But the way he's conducted himself in the last few years with all the court cases and the way he's treated women and the affairs and all this has left a sour taste in my mouth personally, and that's why I can't put him as a timeless legend, even though everything in his footballing career suggests he should be. So for that, I'm going to knock him down slightly. Let me know in the comments if you think I've made the right call there, but for me, Giggs is not on the top level because of that. Paddy Crerand, United great, alongside Stepney. Huge figure in the 60s. Regularly now, even to this day, has a regular little column in the United Review, which is superb. It's wonderful. And also he does MUTV all the time. Probably the most biased commentator in the world. If you actually hear his commentary on MUTV, like nothing a United player does is ever wrong. It's great. But a superb player in his day, and he seems like a really lovely, down-to-earth guy. So, Paddy Crerand, United great. Oh, for me, Gary Neville is a timeless legend. And I'm going to put him ahead of Bex, actually. Just below Rio. But I think, especially in the last few years, and especially now he's part of the task force with Old Trafford, he was club captain for years. He spent his entire career at Manchester United. One club player. He is a superb ambassador for the club as well. United legend, absolute, timeless legend. He is. Whenever you think United right back, instantly think Gary Neville, and that's the way it should be. He made the position his own. He speaks so fondly of the club. He always wants to do the right thing for the fans of the club, which I love. And United fans love that about Gary Neville. He's such a player of the people. And therefore he is timeless legend, I think. Right, so next up we have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I am going to put Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the top tier. I'm going to put him ahead of Bex because I think with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you've got the guy. I mean, he scored the biggest goal in Manchester United's history. That's that's pretty good for cementing a legendary status at a football club. But not only that, whenever we called upon him, he did the job. He is the ultimate super sub. There probably will never be another super sub as good as him. And then, not only that, but then he came back and managed us when we were in the doldrums. After Mourinho left us basically in the shit, with all the players with their heads on the floor, the confidence through the floor, he came in and rejuvenated everyone, gave us some great moments. Still, the best football we have played post-Ferguson was in that few months Ollie had as caretaker boss, in my opinion. We were sensational, and he was loving every second of it. And for the vast majority of his time as manager, we played some great football, and he was loving it, and he was enthusiastic, and he just loved us scoring goals, and he was buzzing, and it was infectious. There was a feel-good atmosphere around the place when he was manager. Tactically, he wasn't the best, but as a player and as a coach, he brought the feel-good factor back, and he loves the club. He really loves the club. He cares passionately. It's the same with Neville and Rio. They just love the club. As far as I'm concerned, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a timeless legend. We keep on chanting his name, and he fully deserves it. Oh, okay. Marcus Rashford. I think Marcus Rashford is top of good player at the moment. That can change. He needs to up his game a little bit because he's starting to stagnate a bit in his career. If he ups it and keeps it going, he will definitely be a great, and he may even be top tier for me. That's my thoughts on Marcus Rashford. Lee Sharp. Well, just for the celebrations alone, he has to be cult hero. I mean, he was a great player, good player for us, but he's a cult hero, isn't he? He's known for his celebrations, dancing and wiggling by the corner flag. He is known for his celebrations, so he is a cult hero. That's why Lee Sharp goes there. Bill Foulkes. Well, he has to be top tier. I will put him there. But Bill Foulkes is, probably behind Ferdinand, the best centre-back we've ever had. I'm putting him there purely because I just didn't see him play. And he survived Munich as well. So I'm putting him there because I know more about the others and I know a bit less about Bill Foulkes. I think there's an argument to say he should be there. Or even higher than that. I'm going to put him there. I think that'll... For me, I'm comfortable with putting him there. Still a timeless legend. Absolutely. I love this man. Oh God, I so desperately want to put him in United great. I'm going to put him in cult hero. Dimitar Berbatov. I'm going to put him ahead of Javier Hernandez. I think Dimitar Berbatov was just slick. The word I use for Berbatov is smooth. Slick. The best first touch of any player I've ever seen to this day. Just 4 years at us, had some superb moments. Hat-trick against Liverpool. The pirouette spin against West Ham, probably the best piece of individual skill Old Trafford's ever seen. Definitely one of them. Just sensational guy, super cool. And even now, when people think of Berbatov, they just think, "Oh, what a smooth bastard he was." I completely agree. So he's cult hero for me. Paul Ince, right? Okay, Paul Ince, the governor. Oh, I think, yeah, top of good player. But I'm not going to put him as any more than that, because the rest of his career, he moved to Liverpool, moved to Inter Milan. If he'd stayed at us for a longer period of time, he would be way up there. And there is an argument to say he could be in United great, or he could be in cult hero. I'm just personally putting him as good player. Oh, I believe that's Robson. Well, Robson is, oh God, he's timeless legend. Captain Marvel. If you get the name Captain Marvel and every United fan knows exactly who you're talking about, you're a club legend. 12 years at the club, or 13 years at the club, I think. Yeah. Timeless legend. Amazing midfield player. Basically carried us through the 1980s. Was the driving force in our midfield, driving force in our team throughout the whole of the 80s. Yeah, Brian Robson has to be up there. I am going to put him ahead of Beckham. And I'm going to put him... Yeah, I'm quite comfortable putting him there. But this is the generation thing, isn't it? I was born in 1990. I bet if you were born in 1980 or in 1970s, he would be way up the list. Even higher than that. Michael Owen. I mean, oh God. Do you know what? I'm going to put him as a cult hero, Michael Owen. I think I'm going to get hammered for that. But if you score probably the most memorable Manchester derby goal... Oh, what is it? Is it the most memorable? I mean, you've got Rooney's over a kick, I suppose. Okay, the most dramatic Manchester derby goal. I'll go with that. The most dramatic Manchester derby goal. Then that gets you a lot of street cred. And I think his status with England has a lot as well to put him in that status for me. But I consider Michael Owen a cult hero because he came from he was a Liverpool legend who somehow ended up at Manchester United. And actually, even though he was basically crippled for vast majorities of his time with us, whenever we played him, he actually bagged goals for us, and he actually scored in the League Cup final as well. And I remember him scoring a hat-trick against Wolfsburg away when we basically had Carrick and Fletcher as our centre-backs because our team was crippled and we had no strength in depth. So these are little moments that stick in the memory of United fans, and they stick in the memory for me. So I'm going to put him as a cult hero. Well, easy. Dennis Law. I've had the honour of meeting this man in person. He was a lovely man. Lovely man. What a lovely guy he is. Oh, great man. And he's the only one of the Trinity now, Holy Trinity, still with us, sadly. So what a guy. I believe, he's not in the best of health at the moment, Dennis Law, which is sad. But what a guy. What a lovely man. He's got to be up there. I'm going to put him... I think I put him ahead of Bess. I think his goal-scoring record. He also is the only person to have 2 statues at Old Trafford, because he has the Trinity one and he has the King of the Stretford End statue in the Stretford End. And if you get given the title of the King of the Stretford End, that's pretty high acclaim. I mean, that means you're timeless anyway. Yeah. Amazing man. Ha! Juan Mata. I have the shirt behind me. Juan Mata. I tell you what, I'll keep that up there like that. Juan Mata. For me, he is a United great. And some people may disagree with me on that, but I think United great is solid for Juan Mata. I think he I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to knock Luke Shaw down, and I'm going to put Juan Mata there, because I think Juan Mata did slightly more than Luke Shaw's done, because Juan Mata was not as injured as Luke Shaw's been, and I think Juan Mata did very well acclimatising to different managers in a period of time that was, to put it mildly, difficult for the club. Not as successful, struggling in between different styles. Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, Ollie. He adapted very well, and he scored some good goals for us, and important goals for us. Equaliser in the FA Cup final. Without him, we may have lost to Crystal Palace that day. Free kick away at Juventus. What a moment that was. He scored some, goals that were important for us, dramatic goals as well. And also, is he not the nicest man in the world? Is there ever been a nicer United player than Juan Mata? I don't think so. So, for me, United, great. Oh, well, this guy's a United great. I'm going to put him alongside Jaap Stam because they're similar players. Nemanja Vidic, what a guy. What a guy. He still gets his name chanted. Probably the hardest centre-back. Although we may come across another one. But yeah, the hardest. One of the hardest centre-backs we ever had. 4 great years at us. I remember his farewell speech. Him and Giggs had a farewell speech on the same night. And I remember his because it was right in front of the Stretford end and everyone started singing to him and it was lovely. Yeah, what a guy. Steve Bruce. He's also a United great. And I'm going to put them in the same bracket. All these are very similar, but that doesn't make them that means that we are blessed as a club to have had such great centre backs. Steve Bruce, what a guy! He scored one of the most famous last-minute winners in the club's history. Sheffield Wednesday, 1993. Arguably the goal that won us the league that year. So, yeah, he has to go there. He has to go there. Next on the list, Dennis Irwin. Right, probably one of the most underrated footballers to have ever played for the club. He is, for me, he goes way up the list, and I'm going to put him as a United great, and I'm actually going to put him ahead of Ryan Giggs because I think it is his professionalism and the way he's conducted himself. The absolute model professional, which I can't say about Ryan Giggs. Actually, no, I can't say about Ryan Giggs. Just, you never hear a bad word said about Dennis Irwin. You've heard plenty of bad words said about Ryan Giggs. That's all I'm going to say on that. I believe that's Norman. And if it is, he is a United great, and I'm going to put him ahead of Steve Bruce, I think. Norman Whiteside, one of the youngest players to put on a Manchester United shirt, one of the best teenagers we've ever had at the club. Fortunately, his career went a little downhill as he got into his 20s, but those early years when he was at us in the early to mid-80s, what a player. Scored some important goals for us. none more so than the 85 FA Cup final against Everton. What a goal as well. Yeah, and a really nice man. I've met him as well. Really nice man. Andrei Kanchelskis. Do you know what? I'm going to put Andrei Kanchelskis as a cult hero. Absolute fast as lightning on the right wing. I'm going to put him ahead of Sharp, I think. Yeah, just rapid. This guy was rapid. You watch footage of it now. Probably one of the fastest players we've ever had at the club. You just gave him the ball and just watched him sprint down the right wing. He was, and he scored some fantastic goals. Seriously, watch some of Andrei Kanchelskis' goals that he scored for us. Belters, absolute belters, and counter-attacking goals. There's no one better. I think he's a cult hero because his spell at us was short but very sweet. So I'm putting him as a cult hero. Right, this guy, for me, I think he is... I'm going to put him... Oh, this is hard because I put Stepney there and he's on Stepney's level. I'm going to put him right at the top of United great. David De Gea. I think he's a club record. The highest goalkeeper appearance, highest appearance. He's United's record appearance holder for a goalkeeper. And the way we treated him as a club was absolutely disgusting. He should have got a testimonial. Without a shadow of a doubt, he should have got testimonial. He should, at the very minimum, got a chance to say goodbye to our fans. To this day, we have never had a chance to say goodbye to David De Gea, and he deserves it because he was superb for us for over a decade. I adored De Gea. I absolutely loved De Gea. I think, do you know what? Sod it. He's going timeless legend for me. I think he's timeless legend. I think you get your name in the record books for the record appearance holder for the club as a goalkeeper, and you deserve to be timeless legend. So he's going as timeless legend for me. I just adored De Gea. I loved him. He's up there with a couple of the other United goalkeepers that we're yet to get to. But he's got to be in that category. Pallister. Pallister goes alongside Bruce. They come as a pair, and that's where I'm putting them in terms of United greats. Just did a really solid job in our team, I think. Look how many there's still left to go. God, this is going to be a long video, folks. I hope you're strapped in. Do you know what? It's so long, I've finished my drink. Right. Gotta be. Cult hero. If Berbatov's there, then Robin Van Persie's got to be there. Number 20, 20th title. That's why we brought him. That's why Ferguson brought him in. Number 20 to win us the 20th title, please. And he did exactly that. He had a couple of pretty good years after that, but that debut season is probably one of the best debut seasons you're ever going to see from a striker, and he is that's why he's a cult hero. Again, short and sweet. We still chant his name from time to time. Love Robin Van Persie. What a guy. He goes in cult hero. Okay. I think this guy is the top of good player. Nani. I actually really like Nani. And you know what? If you watch Anthony, it makes you appreciate just how good Nanny was. Because I tell you what, Nanny did the similar type of thing of cutting inside, but Nanny did it so much better. Yeah, he's the top of a good player for me. I'm putting him ahead of Ince and ahead of Rashford and ahead of Herrera because when he was on it, he was seriously on it. And I think the fluctuations in consistency were that you occasionally got one of the best players you've ever seen and occasionally got, he's all right. There was no in between. It was yo-yoing. But my God, when he was good, he was really, really, really good. So he has to go there. Rude. United great. He is up there, and I'm going to put him ahead of Vidic. 5 glorious years. Ruud 5 glorious years. Best penalty taker in the club's history, in my opinion. Absolutely just a goal machine. Absolute goal machine. It's a shame that he fell out of love. Ferguson and Ferguson fell out. It's a shame. It's a real shame. Had that have not happened and he stayed throughout the noughties, he would be a timeless legend. There is no doubt about that. For my generation, he was the ultimate goal machine striker. It's just he wasn't at us long enough, I don't think, to put him in the timeless legend category. But a United great. Dwight York. Okay, right. Dwight York. Oh God. Well, he's got to go in United great, but he's not as great as Sheringham. He's not as good as Cole, and I don't think he's good as these. I would say Dwight York goes, for me, under cult hero solely because of his link with Cole. But I wouldn't put him as a United great because he didn't do as much as the other players on that category. He didn't. He really only had a couple of years where he was firing, but then he really went off the boil, especially towards the end of his. Whereas Cole stayed consistent, York really went off the boil. So yeah, I'm going to put him as cult hero. He gets into cult hero because he is Cole and York. It's that link. But yeah, he's not United great, I don't think. Not for me, anyway. Oh, Chris Smalling. Do you know what? He is a United servant. He did a good job for us, Chris Smalling. There's an argument to say that he should have stayed at the club and should still be at the club, considering he's tearing it up at Roma, and I agree. No one is telling me that Chris Smalling's a better centre-back than Harry Maguire, and no one's telling me that Chris Smalling's a better centre-back than Lindelof. And I think he should still be at the club. I think we missed the trick. I feel the same way about Johnny Evans, who I'm probably going to get to as well. I hope he's on here. He might be on here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, is that Johnny Evans? Yeah, that's Johnny Evans. Right, to spare us, I'm going to put Johnny Evans in the same category. Because Johnny Evans came through our academy. He did a good job for us. He's still, having returned to the club, doing a good job for us. So Johnny Evans goes there. Oh, Keane. Roy Keane. Okay, right. He is going to be a timeless legend. I personally, and this is personal choice, right? I'm going to put him behind De Gea because he wasn't the. Actually, sorry, I can't put him behind De Gea. I can't. Sorry, I was just mulling it over in my head. I think it was more personality-wise. I liked De Gea more than I liked Keane. Keane is a guy who is rough, tough, hard man, Roy Keane, and I prefer David's lighter personality. But no doubt, Keane has probably done more for the club in terms of setting a standard of a club captain. I'm probably going to put him... Yeah, I'm going to put him there. I'm quite comfortable with putting him there for me. I think his personality is that and his grumpiness. It's funny, but I wouldn't put him much higher because for me personally, I like the others more than Keane, but he does get ahead of De Gea in terms of what he's done for the club, so I'll put him there. I'm quite happy with that. The ultimate servant. The ultimate servant. In fact, you know what? No, he's going above servant, actually, John O'Shea. He's going into cult hero, and I'm going to put him just beneath Park Ji-sung, because Christ did O'Shea score some important goals for us, and he's the ultimate utility man. He played left back, right back, centre back, midfield, and he did the job well in all those positions. He played throughout the whole of the noughties for us. He was superb. He nutmegged Luis Figo, and people still talk about it. He scored a last-minute goal at Anfield, and people still talk about it. He scored a chip at Highbury, and people still talk about it. John O'Shea, what a guy. What a guy. Just a great man, isn't he? So, yeah, he's a cult hero. Absolute cult hero. In fact, you know what? I actually think he's going ahead of Park Ji-sung, actually, because I think he actually did slightly more for us than Park Ji-sung did. So, yeah, there you go. John O'Shea, ultimate cult hero. Oh, Tevez. Probably the highest of the good players, but because of his career, he's got to be, because he is world class. No question he's world class. And if he had stayed at United and not gone to City and not gone to Juventus and not done any of that, if he had stayed at United, he would be right up there with the United greats, and he may even be close to the level of the timeless classic. But he didn't. He chose a different direction, and that direction sadly has kind of severed a lot of ties that he had with Manchester United, and therefore I'm putting him as a good player and top of good player. Right, okay. This might be the ultimate hot take. This might be more of a hot take than Giggs. I don't know if it is going to be, but I personally am going to put Ronaldo in United great, and I'm going to put him just behind Paddy Crerand. Now, the reason, because in terms of football legendary status, the stats don't lie, right? He's one of the all-time greatest footballers. The stats don't lie. And I can't argue with the stats, and I'm not even going to try and argue with the stats. I think his legendary status within the game is cemented. His legendary status at United severely tainted by his return to the club. Had he not returned to the club, I, on a personal level, would have still kept him as United great. I wouldn't have put him as a legend, but he'd be higher on this list. I think his whole way of which he has just set fire to his legacy at the club and set fire to his burn all his bridges at the club with the interview where he basically got into bed with Piers Morgan, I think has really tarnished him. In fact, I'm actually going to put him lower than a lot of these players. I'm actually going to put him below Rude, and I'm going to put him below Nemanja as well. I'm going to put him there. He gets there on footballing merit. Because if you wanted me to really go in hard on his conduct and how he treated the club, he would be a lot lower. Giggs has treated the club well. His, off the field antics, Yeah, no, not really for me. But he's never slagged the club off. Ronaldo has slagged the club off to high heavens. So yeah, I'm quite comfortable putting him there. But let me know your opinions in the comments below. Oh, I love Carrick. Oh my God, what a guy Carrick is. Right, Carrick is way up there in terms of United greats. I'm putting him alongside Crerand because I think he deserves to be alongside Crerand as one of our great midfield players. And I think he spent 10 years at us and he was superb. Absolutely superb. I think we're still trying to replace Carrick today. And I think Mainu is the closest we have got to Carrick since Carrick left. So I think Carrick is absolutely fantastic. Just the most dependable midfielder you could ever have in your life. He just knitted that midfield together. I barely ever saw him misplace a pass. He was superb. Yeah, United great, without a shadow of a doubt. And this guy's a cult hero. I'm going to put him just ahead of York, I think, Marouane Fellaini. Because Marouane Fellaini, he just did a job, didn't he? We bought him as this massive man to get us headed goals and to hold the ball up. He had the best chest control of any player on this list. His chest was like Velcro. And whenever we called upon him to do a job, he did it. And he scored some pretty important goals for us as well. So I'm putting Marouane Fellaini there. Cult hero. Big afro. Yeah, fair dues, Marouane. Oh, Mikael Sylvester. Yeah, United servant. Served the club really well, putting him alongside these other centre-backs. Yeah, really good player. Solid, dependable, reliable. Either at centre-back or left-back. Well, not much else I can say. Oh, right, okay. This is one of the biggest disappointments. This is one of the ones where it's like, he should have been great. He should have been great. But injuries killed this man. Just destroyed this man. I'm putting him as a good player. I'm putting him as slightly behind Jesse Lingard. But Phil Jones, had he kicked on from his first season, where he was superb, there wouldn't be any hesitation. There would be no doubts that this guy would be up there. Do you remember when Ferguson said he had the potential to be the next Duncan Edwards? I know people laugh at that now, but if you saw him in his first season, you actually believed it. I actually watched him in his first season thinking, Jesus Christ, this guy is going to be unreal. He can play as centre-back, he can play as centre-mid, and he was superb. I remember he was playing against Bolton, and he just carried the ball from centre-back right through midfield and right into the box, then cut it back for Rooney. It was unbelievable, and it was like, who is this guy? This 18-year-old, 19-year-old guy is going to be a world beater, and it just... injuries killed him. Just killed the player. Such a shame for Phil Jones. Such a shame for Phil Jones. But that's why he's in good player. Veron, here is a guy I loved. Really good player. Underrated player. Should have stayed at us longer. We should never have sold him. Great moments, great goals, but not at us long enough. And not quite on the level to be a cult hero for me. Roy Cowell. Well, Roy Cowell's not a legend. That's easy enough. This guy most certainly is. Oh my sweet lord. Get up there. Get up, right up there. I put him ahead of Rooney. For me, out of the class of 92, this man is the pinnacle. This man is the absolute pinnacle. Paul Scholes. I'm just going to level with you now. My favourite footballer of all time. I love you, Paul Scholes. Absolutely love you. What a player. What a man. I love his attitude, I love his personality, I love his professionalism, I love his goals, his assists are unbelievable. I love the fact that he just got on with his job, no nonsense. There's a legendary story that it took 6 weeks to negotiate with Rio Ferdinand and his agent on a contract extension. It took Paul Scholes, who didn't have an agent, 10 minutes. He just walked into the office and said, "Oh, is that it? Right, okay, there we go." Signed, walked out the door, went back home to his family. That sums the class of the man up as a personality and professionally. And ever since, what he's done with his family and what he's done for highlighting autism as well, what a guy. I just adore him. I was at his testimonial. I was gutted when he retired. When he came back, I was just euphoric, extremely excited. And then he gave us another good couple of years and he won another Premier League. I could go on about Paul Scholes all day, but this video is already very long and I don't want to make it any longer. Right, we're on the home straight. Wes Brown, United servant. Did well for us. Probably served us the longest out of all these players here, actually. So yeah, did a job. Do you know what? Actually, no, he's a cult hero, isn't he? He's a cult hero, and I'm going to put him above Berbatov because we still chant Wes Brown's name. We still chant, "He's big, he's brown, he's Wesley Brown, the hardest man in all the town." We still chant that. So, and it makes you smile. So he's got to be a cult hero. And yeah, he's done more for. He did more appearances and was solid. Do you remember the season? The 07-08 season when we won the Premier League and Champions League. Gary Neville got injured. Wes Brown was unbelievable at right back. The whole season he was right back and he was sensational. One of the best players that year for us. So yeah, cult hero. This man is a legend. This man is not just a cult hero, he is a real life hero. Harry Gregg, I'm going to put him ahead of... I think he goes... Oh, blimey. I think I'm going to put him ahead of... yeah, I'll put him ahead of... I'm going to put him ahead of Beckham and ahead of Brian Robson. Because, for me, this goes beyond football. And for the same reason I knock Giggs down for his off-the-field matters, I bump Harry Gregg up for that, because this is a man who pulled his teammates and other passengers out of the burning wreckage of Munich. He literally saved lives, this man. Not only did he save goals for us, being a fantastic keeper for around a decade for us, he also saved lives. He saved Bobby Charlton, he saved Bill Folkes, he saved Sir Matt Busby, he saved he saved a woman and her young baby daughter, who then grew up and reunited with him years later. The footage of that is incredible. Such a down-to-earth man. He was extremely humble. He never saw himself as a hero, but he was. Yeah, what a wonderful man. And yeah, not only his exploits on the pitch, incredible, but it's his heroics off the pitch that make him a timeless legend. Everyone should learn about Harry Gregg and what he did for the club. Oh, Nicky Butt. For me, Nicky Butt is in the Phil Neville category. In fact, they're right next to each other. I think he's a better player than Phil Neville, and I think he's a better player than Ander Herrera. But I can't say that he stayed with us long enough to be more than a good player in the class of '92, sadly. So I'm going to put Nicky Butt there. Oh, Mark Hughes. Mark Hughes is a United great. I'm going to put him ahead of Whiteside, I think. I think Hughes was superb for us. Absolutely superb. Not only in the 80s, came back in the 90s, and won Premier Leagues, scored important goals. Last minute goal, semi-final against Oldham, volley, save us, to literally save us, and keep the double dream alive that season. Amazing. That's probably the highlight moment. Oh no, there's the Cup Winners' Cup final, and he scored against Barcelona. Yeah, in '91. Yeah, actually, that's probably the highlight. But yeah, United great, without a doubt. Mark Hughes. I don't care. I don't care what people say. Oh, he went to City and managed City and all that. I don't care. I just don't care. He's a United great. Louis Saha. Good player. I'm going to put him just below Nanny. Spent a few good years at us, did a job, scored a few nice goals, had a good little partnership with Rooney. Okay, this man for me is alongside Ashley Young, very similar type of player in the fact that Antonio Valencia started out on the wing, then moved gradually back into defence and spent almost 10 years at the club. I think he did spend 10 years at the club. I tell you what, he scored one of the best goals I've seen at Old Trafford. His volley against Everton. Oh, at the Stretford end. Ball comes in, boom! Yeah, what a moment that was. One of the fastest players I've ever seen as well. Yeah, Antonio Valencia. Great guy. Served the club really well. I'm going to hate... Right, okay. Owen Hargreaves is not a United legend. I'm going to put him as not a legend because whilst he should be in the good player category, again, it's the off the... In fact, you know what? I think Martial has done more for the club than Owen Hargreaves did. Owen Hargreaves had an amazing first season, and the other 3 seasons were rubbish. Now, that is mainly down to injury, so it's not necessarily his fault. But then to go to Manchester City, play a couple of games, and then slag off our medical team for saying that we effectively ruined his career because we did all the medical procedures wrong is just downright insulting. So he's not a legend, Owen Hargreaves. This man is Cantona Mark II, but he is not on the same level as Cantona because he only really spent 1 season at us, and therefore I'm going to put Zlatan Ibrahimovic just behind Park Ji-sung in cult hero. Now listen, I adore Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I absolutely love him. I wish we signed him years and years and years ago when we got... God, can you imagine if he stayed for the Cantona levels of time? And if he stayed longer than Cantona, he would be up there with timeless legend because he is the closest thing personality-wise to Cantona. Even though Cantona is a complete one-off, if there was ever someone to get even close to the character and charisma and personality of Cantona, it's Ibrahimovic. But he didn't spend long enough at us. It's actually an amazing tribute to Zlatan Ibrahimovic that he actually is a cult hero, or I consider him a cult hero, just for having spent 1 season at the club. That shows how much of an impact he had in that season. Yeah, what a guy. And Edwin van der Sar. Right, okay. I'm going to put Edwin van der Sar... Oh. Do you know what? He's going there, and sod it. Stephanie's going there as well. Him and Alex Stepney, because all 4 of them are timeless goalkeeping legends. Van der Sar I'm going to put slightly ahead of Stepney because Van der Sar, I believe, won more than Stepney did, but also had more of an impact in games. And also, Van der Sar holds the clean sheet record, I believe, for the most consecutive clean sheets, or less goals conceded. It's one of those records. But also, for Moscow, penalty save from Anelka. I mean, God, you know, won us our second Champions League. Second Champions League, second European Cup. No, what am I talking about? Third Champions League, third European Cup. Go 99. Oh, God, yeah. 2008. What am I talking about? Ooh, it's a long video. It's been a long day. I'm knackered, guys. But yeah, he came to us too late. Ferguson admits it. Ferguson admits that we should have probably signed him straight after after Peter Schmeichel left. And Christ, you know what? Can you imagine if we had the whole of the noughties with Van der Sar? Oh my God, it would have been unbelievable. It was already unbelievable for the time that he spent at the club, like the 6 years we got out of him. But my God, can you imagine if we had 11 years? Oh, you know, God, we would have won even more stuff. Of that, I'm certain. Oh, yeah. Wow. What a list. What a video. I'm knackered. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think on my list. Who are your United legends? Who makes your top 10? Who's your favourite United player? Who for you is on there who is not a United legend? Who do you consider to be nowhere near legendary status? I'd love to hear all your thoughts. So until next time, take care everyone, and I'll see you soon.